Hey y'all, I'm Zara, 35, female. Alright, so let me tell you about how my life took a wild turn when I was just a teenager. At the tender age of 17, I found out I was pregnant. It was a shocker, to say the least. And you know what they say about surprises? They come unannounced, leaving you scrambling to figure out what to do next. Enter Ren, my now ex-husband. Well, he wasn't my husband back then. We were just two teenagers who never really liked each other. But life had other plans for us. When my pregnancy became known to our families, it was like a whirlwind had hit. Ren's mother, Erin, was adamant that we tie the knot. Shotgun wedding, you know. So there we were, two young souls forced into a marriage we never wanted, all because of this little being growing inside me. It felt like life was playing a cruel joke on us. But as I held my son, Tyler, in my arms for the first time, something magical happened. I fell in love with that little bundle of joy, and our bond was unbreakable. Unfortunately, the same couldn't be said for Ren. He resented Tyler from the beginning. He felt like his life was slipping away from him, and he blamed our son for it. Every milestone, every late-night diaper change, it was like a reminder to Ren that he couldn't live his life the way he wanted to. Now, you'd think that Erin, being Ren's mother, would have some empathy or understanding, but nope, not a chance. She never really liked me, and she never hesitated to remind me of that fact. She'd often take every chance she got to let me know that she thought little of me. The shotgun wedding? Yeah, she only allowed it to happen to save face within the neighborhood. Our household was like a ticking time bomb. There was tension all the time. Ren's resentment towards Tyler and his indifference towards me. Erin's constant disapproval hanging in the air like a dark cloud. It was suffocating. But in the midst of it all, I found solace in my son. Tyler was my anchor, my rock. And he made everything worthwhile. He had this incredible connection that seemed to fill the void left by Ren's absence. I poured my heart and soul into being the best mom I could be, and Tyler's love for me was like a beacon of light in the darkness. As Tyler grew, I could see how much he resembled me. His eyes, his smile. He was my mini-me, and I couldn't have been prouder. I knew I had to shield him from the toxicity in our home, from his father's resentment and his grandmother's disdain, so I made it my mission to create a loving and nurturing environment for him, despite the circumstances. As the years passed, the tension between Ren and me remained. Our marriage was a facade and everyone knew it, but I had Tyler, and that was enough. He was the reason I woke up every morning with a smile on my face, ready to face whatever life threw my way. I learned to be resilient and to rise above the judgments and disapproval. My love for my son gave me the strength to keep going and to be the best version of myself for him. And in those moments when Tyler looked up at me with those innocent eyes, I knew that I was doing something right. No matter how challenging life became, I had Tyler, and that was all that mattered. As Tyler grew into a strong young man, he became more and more of a challenge to his father. He was like a force of nature, determined to break free from the toxic environment that had surrounded him his entire life. I could see it in his eyes, that spark of rebellion mixed with a hunger for a better life. Even when Tyler was a little boy, he'd often fantasize about leaving. He'd ask me, "Mom, when can we just get out of here and start fresh? I hate it here." It broke my heart to see my son yearn for a life away from the mess we were in. But I was always hesitant to leave. As much as I despised the situation I was in, I couldn't bear to leave Ren with the brunt of the medical expenses he had to pay for his mother, Erin. You see, Erin was suffering from a slipped disc, and her medication and doctor visits weren't cheap. As a couple, Ren and I could afford the payments, but Tyler often told me that they didn't deserve my money because of how they treated me. He'd say, "Mom, they don't appreciate you at all. They never have. Why don't you just leave?" I tried to explain to him that I felt indebted to them in a strange way. Crazy, I know. I knew that I wouldn't have been able to handle taking care of Tyler alone for all those years. As much as Ren and Erin were awful, they did step up financially when they needed to. They provided Tyler with good clothes, education, and much more. But then Tyler turned 18 and he was technically an adult now. He was ready to leave the nest, and that meant Ren and I could get a divorce without it being as scandalous. After all, our son was grown and could handle himself. The day Tyler turned 18 was bittersweet for me. On the one hand, I was proud of the young man he had become, but on the other hand, it was a reminder that he was spreading his wings and leaving our troubled nest. He'd always been my rock, my source of strength, and the thought of him not being around every day was hard to digest. Tyler was excited about the new chapter in his life. He had dreams and aspirations that he was determined to chase, and he wanted to take me with him. Mom, let's leave this all behind. But I still struggled with the idea of leaving Ren and Erin to face their own demons. Despite everything, they were still family, and the part of me felt responsible for them. It was like an invisible tether was holding me back, making it hard to completely break free. One evening, Tyler sat me down and said, Mom, I know you feel indebted to them, but you don't owe them anything. You deserve to be happy, to have a life free from toxicity. Baby, I've told you. I know, but this is BS, Mom. Come on. They aren't even grateful for all the work you do. I mean, you cook, you clean, and you take care of everything else in this house. And you go to work as well, without so much as a thank you from them. They're sick. Tyler. What? It's true. Come on, Mom. We can leave just you and I. It doesn't have to be like this. I'll think about it, son. It's a lot to handle, you know. I know, Mom. I just want what's best for you, but I'm not leaving here without you. So a couple of weeks went by, and let me tell you, Ren was on edge like never before. His mood swings were getting even more toxic, but honestly, it wasn't all that surprising. Tyler and I had endured his random fits for years, ever since Tyler was born. Even though that was the case, this time things felt different. Tyler, feeling a newborn sense of power and assertiveness, decided to confront his dad about his sour attitude. It was about time someone spoke up, and my boy was ready to face the storm. Hey, Dad, I've noticed you've been really tense and agitated lately. What's going on? Ren just brushed him off, saying, It's nothing. Just stop it. Leave me alone. But my son wasn't going to back down that easily. He had bottled up years of frustration and pain from being neglected by his father, and he was ready to let it all out. No, Dad. This isn't nothing. You've been acting like this for years. It's not fair to take your anger out on us. Either act like an adult and speak up, or keep your negativity to yourself. Well, that did it. Ren's temper flared and he snapped. Oh, well, would you look at that? Looks like the little brat finally grew a pair. You want to talk about being an adult? Ren, calm down. He was just asking you a question. Stay out of this. Don't talk to her like that. I'm sick of you. Finally, we agree on something, because I'm sick of you. What did we ever do to you, huh? You're just a miserable old sap, and you're just a frickin' freeloader. You know why I'm upset? You should have left the house the minute you turned 18 instead of continued to spend all my money like a little kid. Isn't it bad enough that you ruined my life? And now that you can leave, you can continue to drain me dry? Ouch. Those words hit hard, but my son didn't cower. He stood his ground, his voice unwavering. You want to know why I didn't leave? It's because I'm waiting for Mom to realize her potential and leave you behind. Tyler's words hung in the air like a heavy cloud of truth. Ren looked taken aback, like he hadn't expected this confrontation, but he quickly regained his composure and spat out. Zara would never leave. Not after everything we've been through. Tyler's resolve didn't waver, and he shot back. Maybe it's because you've made her feel like she owes you something, like she's stuck with you forever. Ren's anger intensified, and he accused Tyler of being spoiled and selfish. Fine. You want to act like an adult, then you have 1 week to move out. We'll see how well you handle the real world, spoiled brat. With that, Wren stomped away, leaving Tyler seething with anger. He was hurt, frustrated, and feeling betrayed by the man who was supposed to be his father. I tried to comfort Tyler, telling him not to worry about his father's words. But my son snapped at me, his emotions running high. How can I not worry, Mom? He's got his claws so deep in you that I'm starting to think you'll never leave. Maybe he's right. His words hit me like a punch to the gut. I knew he was right. I had endured so much in this toxic marriage, and a part of me felt trapped, like I couldn't escape. But seeing my son so hurt and angry made me realize that I couldn't keep living like this. As Tyler stormed out of the house, I was left alone with my thoughts. I couldn't ignore the truth any longer. It was time to face the reality of my situation. I sat down and thought about everything Tyler had said. He was right. Wren had manipulated me into feeling indebted to him, and it had kept me stuck in this unhappy marriage for far too long. But I also knew that I couldn't blame everything on Wren. I had my own choices to make, and I had allowed this toxic dynamic to persist for years. I had to be honest with myself. Did I really want to continue living like this? Was I willing to sacrifice my own happiness for the sake of convenience? Some hours had gone by, and the tension in the house was really high. My heart pounded in my chest as Tyler approached me with a serious look on his face. Mom, I found something you need to see. His voice was tinged with both anger and concern. What is it, Tyler? He led me to his room and pulled up his father's phone messages. My eyes widened as I saw the conversations between Wren and his mother, Erin. Tyler had managed to hack into Wren's phone and take pictures of their conversations. As I read through the messages, my mind couldn't comprehend what I was seeing. Wren and Erin were plotting to take over my bank accounts, and they had been stealing money from me all this time. In one message, Wren had bragged to his mother, I've been making her pay for everything, and she hasn't even noticed the extra money missing from her accounts. She's so naive. It's almost too easy. My hands trembled as I scrolled through more messages. They discussed how to manipulate me, how to drain my finances, and how to keep me in the dark about their scheme. It was a web of deceit that they had carefully woven around me. I can't believe they would do this to me. After everything. I knew they were up to something shady, but I never thought it would be this bad. As I looked at the evidence before me, I felt a mix of emotions. I was hurt, betrayed, and angry beyond words. But amidst all that, I also felt a sense of relief. This was the final confirmation I needed to know that leaving Wren was the right decision. Thank you, Tyler. You've opened my eyes to the truth. Tyler nodded, his eyes filled with determination. So, let's do it. I knew exactly what he was talking about. He'd brought up the plan many times before, and prior to this newfound knowledge, I always shot it down, saying that was going a bit too far, but after finding out the truth, I agreed, knowing that we couldn't let them get away with their deceit any longer. The next morning I woke up early, determined to make a fresh start. As I began packing our belongings, I felt a mix of emotions, sadness for the life I was leaving behind, but also relief that I was finally breaking free from the toxic grip of Wren and his mother. Suddenly Wren came downstairs, confusion etched on his face when he saw me and Tyler packing our things into a moving truck. What the heck is going on? I couldn't hold back my anger any longer. I approached Wren and slapped him hard across the face. This is what's happening! I couldn't hold back any longer. I let out all the pent-up frustration and pain he had caused me over the years. I know everything, Wren. I know about your scheme with your mother to steal from me. I know how you both manipulated and used me for your own gain. Wren's eyes widened in shock, and he stammered, trying to come up with an excuse. How did you... Zara, wait, I can explain. But Tyler cut him off, stepping forward with a fierce determination in his eyes. Don't even try to make excuses. We have the proof. He showed Wren the pictures he had taken from his phone. Wren was furious, but he also seemed taken aback by the fact that Tyler had been the one to uncover the truth. He tried to plead with us, promising to change and be a better person, but I knew better. I had heard those promises too many times before. Your words mean nothing, Wren. You've had countless chances to change and you've never taken them seriously. I'm done with you and your lies. Wren stormed off to call his mother, no doubt explaining the situation and seeking her support, but I didn't care. Tyler and I were too busy packing up and trying to escape that hellhole. Unfortunately, Wren returned, putting his mother on speaker as she began to plead with me. I took the phone from Wren and I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Erin's voice sounded desperate as she spoke through the phone, trying to convince me to stay. Sarah, we didn't mean any of that. Please reconsider. We didn't mean to hurt you. We were just trying to get by and we thought you wouldn't mind helping out a little. You both took advantage of me, stole from me and treated me like garbage. And you have the audacity to act like it's no big deal? Both of you are sick. Erin tried to shift the blame. Well, you were the one who got pregnant so young, so in a way you owe this to us. I took a deep breath, trying to stay calm. Both of you are complete and utter garbage, and I hope you rot in hell after you fail to pay your medical bills. There was silence on the other end of the line, and I knew my words had hit home. I continued, my voice steady but filled with emotion. I'm leaving, Erin. Tyler and I deserve better than this toxic environment. We're done being treated like second-class citizens in our own home. So, Wren, expect the divorce papers by the end of the week. Erin's tone softened and she tried to play the victim. Zara, how could you be so cruel? We're family. We're supposed to stick together. I shook my head even though she couldn't see it. Family is supposed to support and love each other, not tear each other down. I won't subject myself or my son to your toxicity any longer. She pleaded one last time. Please, Zara, think about Wren and me. We'll be left with nothing. I felt a pang of guilt, but I pushed it aside. You brought this on yourselves, Erin. Maybe it's time for both you and Wren to learn some hard lessons about treating people with respect and kindness. With that, I hung up the phone, feeling a mix of emotions but also a sense of relief. It wasn't easy to cut ties with family, but I knew it was the right decision for Tyler and me. We deserved better, and it was time to take control of our own lives. As Tyler and I continued to pack our things, I knew that we were embarking on a new chapter, filled with uncertainty but also hope. We were breaking free from the chains of toxicity and starting fresh, ready to build a life filled with love, support, and happiness. Wren was getting desperate, something that rarely happened considering his cool and callous attitude, so he continued to protest and plead, but I remained firm. Oh my God, Wren, I'm leaving. Why don't you get that? Leave me alone. Wren tried to play the sympathy card, saying that they wouldn't be able to afford Erin's medical bills without my financial support. That's not my problem anymore. You and your mother can figure it out on your own. I deserve better than this, and I'm not going to be your cash cow any longer. As Tyler and I finished packing our things into the car, my heart was pounding with a mix of anxiety and excitement. This was it. The moment we were finally breaking free from the toxicity that had suffocated us for so long. Wren came rushing out, still trying to convince me to stay, but I had made up my mind. I wasn't going to let his manipulative words sway me any more. I got into the car, and as I started the engine, Wren stepped in front of us, pleading once more. I gritted my teeth, hesitating for a moment, but then I decided enough was enough. I pressed down on the gas pedal and the car sped off, nearly hitting him in the process. Through the rearview mirror, I saw Wren kicking the trash can in anger and punching the air. I didn't want to look back anymore. I didn't want to be tied to that toxicity any longer. Tyler let out a sigh of relief, and I could see the weight lifted off his shoulders. Mom, that felt so good. I didn't know you could be so badass. I smiled at him, feeling the same sense of liberation washing over me. I didn't even know that I had that in me. We're finally free, Tyler. free to live our lives on our own terms without their claws digging into us. As we drove away from the place that had been our home for far too long, I felt a mix of emotions. Sadness for the years I had lost, anger for the way we had been treated, but at that moment, most importantly, I felt glad that karma had finally come around for those two, and that I had finally gotten my revenge.